guys, Tennessee.Frank here. We're going to take a look at some classic traditional 3-blade slip joint pocket knives. I know most people today are into like the tactical lock blades with the pocket clips and everything. I've been into those probably, for like the last 25-30 years, but before that, these were the kind of pocket knives I carried. I mean, all through my teen years and early 20s up into my very early 30s, pretty much everything I carried would be something like this old-timer 80T Stockman knife and a buck 110. I mean, that was kind of my go-to for my knives. But lately I've been getting back into collecting the traditional knives, and I really enjoy it. There's just so many different patterns you can get, so many different handle materials you can get, all kinds of price ranges. I mean, this little large Stockman here from Right Edge was like $10, and you can go all the way up to like 25 or so on some of these, you know, from Rough Rider. Even like this guy from Old Timer, this Lumberjack Stockman. It's a large knife. It's only around $25. I think the buck was $25 as well, but I did get it with the Browood handles. You can get them that price or a little more depending. If you get an American made, you're going to be paying closer to $50. Or like if you go Case XX, I mean, they get outrageous with Case XX. I think they're mainly going on the name because a lot of people say their quality and all what it's shaped up to be like it used to be. But we can go ahead and take a look at some of these. We can start out at the bottom end with this large Stockman from Right Edge. There's the number on it. And like I said, these are like 10 or 12 bucks. Really pretty handles on this. And if you just needed like a cheap knockabout knife, I mean, the pull on it's not too bad. No half stop. I did get it sharpened up. The blades are kind of thin. You can see how thin that tip is on this knife. I mean, that's probably going to be prone to breaking, so you got to be careful with it. But you got your classic clip point. You have your sheep's foot blade, which is really awesome for opening boxes or, you know, doing little carving tasks. And then you have your spay blade, which traditionally was used to, you know, spay cattle. But I don't think people use that anymore for that. But yeah, this is reasonably sharp, and it's probably not going to hold an edge as well as some of the others because it's probably a little bit cheaper steel, probably like a 3CR13 or something. But like for 12 bucks, you can get into a little Stockman. Moving up the ladder, if you want to get into something a little nicer, we have these old timers. They have recently increased the price on these, and I've been carrying that. That's why the bolsters are a little discolored. And these are the square style bolsters. They call them Texas bolsters, and we'll look at a couple other styles in a minute. But yeah, this has your, you know, basic clip point. Again, got your sheep's foot and your spay blade. And this is 7 CR17 MOV, little higher quality steel. Takes a good edge, razor sharp. And then moving up in the Schrade line, you can get into the Uncle Henry. And I like this because of the new scales. The older Uncle Henrys had kind of a yellowish tint to them with black, and I didn't like the way they looked at all. These new scales are a lot closer to like a stag with the white and the brown. And once again, these knives here are going to be darn near identical. Except for the scales, they're pretty much identical. This does cost a little more because the Uncle Henry name, it's a little higher quality. They say, I mean, still the same steel and everything. But like I said, if you want the nicer scales, instead of this Delrin plastic, which it's durable, I mean, it's seriously durable. And then you get into the Lumberjack series, and these are big knives. I mean, you're getting a really huge clip point, and we can even measure that. I got my 6-inch scale. If we go from back at the, you can see it's probably 13 1/4, or 13, 3 1/4 inch. So you're getting a good sized blade on here. Overall, this guy's coming in at right around 4.5 inches. So that's a good sized knife. Case XX, like I said, their knives are expensive. They do have these little inexpensive belt pouches. You run your belt through there and it holds it horizontally on your belt. I did put a Chicago screw in the end of it just to give it a little more stability. Coated it down good with ballistol or ballistol, however you want to call it. I call it ballistol. And I've been using this stuff for years. This stuff's phenomenal, especially if you get into muzzle loaders. A little plug for ballistol. But yeah, I coated it down with that, and this knife slips into there nicely. So you can carry it on your belt. With these larger knives, I mean, they're not really handy in a pocket, but yeah, you can put that on your belt and carry it. No problem at all. And we do have some Rough Riders up here. This first little one we're going to look at is their Amber Bone. This one does have the match strike nail nicks. You can see there's like little serrations in there. Supposedly you can strike a match on it. And this is not a bad sized pocket knife. I believe if I read right, it comes in at like 3.88 inches. So it is a little bit smaller. This is 440A, but it does take a razor edge. You can see if we can focus. 440 razor sharp steel. Here's our model number. Made in China. But yeah, this is a nice knife. It's got what's called a vaquero style bolster. It's a round bolster. This has the vaquero style too. Your square is Texas, your rounded is a vaquero. These are a little nicer to carry in the pocket. Of course, this does have your spay blade, and it also has your sheep's foot. And that's kind of the traditional pattern on these Stockmans. You're going to have your main blade on a spring, and then the other second spring is going to run your other two blades. So it has two back springs, and you can see they did a really good job fit and finish on these. Rough Rider does make some really nice knives for the money. They make some that's carbon steel, which we'll take a look at. This guy here, let me show you the box in case you need a number. It's RR080. And that's a good little pocket knife. They have the carbon. This is the classic carbon. And here's your number on it. RR1740. You get a really nice box with these knives too. It's got the cutout that holds your knife, a little place for your finger to get in there to pull it out. Nice magnetic closure. Classic carbon series. It's going to have the yellow handle, which I think looks really classy. A lot of the old timers would carry like pocket knives with yellow handles. It's just kind of a real classy knife. Again, fit and finish on these are beautiful. This is a carbon steel, and you got your TR bolster. A lot of people on YouTube will say it's an R bolster. Actually, there's a T right there for Teddy Roosevelt, and these are Rough Rider. But it's pinched and got the line. This is a larger one too. This does have the half stop, if you see. Got your half stop. Real good pull on this. Nice walk and talk. That's where they talk about how it sounds when you open it. The walk and talk's real nice. And these are carbon, so they are prone to rust. You're going to have to keep them kind of lubed up a little with some oil. But again, you got your sheep's foot. You got a real large sheep's foot. And then you got your spay blade. And these take a real good edge. Real nice. And then they do have the classic carbon 2 series of knives. Here's our number on it. RR2214. And it's basically going to be the same knife. Only you have a pewter insert. And you have black micarta with, if you can see, it's got blue underliners. Beautiful knife. And again, same thing. You can see this came with a little teeny rusty spot. I don't know if we can there, a little teeny rusty spot on the blade. I just took a little 4/0 steel wool and kind of buffed it out. But yeah, these take a real good edge. And it's a T10 high carbon steel, so like I said, they will rust. Then we move into another 3-blade style that I'm going to show you, mainly because of the way Buck does their knives. There's a knife, it's called a whittler. It's a 3-blade, but it's going to be set up a bit different. You're going to have your main blade, which is a clip point, and it's a little smaller clip point than standard. And then you're going to have another small clip point blade here, and then on your other side they have a little pen blade, and these pen blades were used back in the day for sharpening your quill pens. That's why they call it a pen blade. But these, if you notice, you have your 2 springs and they kind of run into one, and those 2 springs that run into one take care of your main blade, and then the other 2 are for your other blades. And you see how it's set in there. You got 2 blades and then a middle blade, where if you notice on your Stockman, you have your 1 blade on this side and then 2 blades on one side. So on this one they break up the blades, 1, 1, and 1. Here it's 1 and 2. So it makes it a little bit different. Here's another style whittler. And let me show the box on this one real quick. That's an RR155. And it's a smaller whittler. I mean, it's a nice size, but this is another one that's in the Classic Carbon 2 series. And you see, it's a Seahorse whittler. And it also has the black micarta with the blue underliners. Beautiful fit and finish. Again, 2 blades into one, or 2 back springs into one. You got your brass liners. And this has a bit different shape of a blade. And this is called a Seahorse style whittler with this kind of a Warncliffe. It's a Warncliffe style blade. And this is high carbon, so it'll be prone to rust too, but it takes a razor edge with that T10 steel. And again, you got your pen blade, and then on this side you have another little pen blade. So 2 pen blades and a Warncliffe. And you know, it's got the pewter inlay. But these beautiful knives. I mean, I'm really impressed with Rough Rider. I love Rough Rider knives. They're really good knives. The reason I'm showing you the whittlers is because we're going to move to the Buck version of the Stockman. And this is with the burl wood. And that's a really pretty wood. Decent fit and finish. Of course, this is the Chinese-made version, so it's going to have a 420J2 instead of the 420HC like on the American knives. Stainless bolsters. Again, you got your, no half stop, but you got your clip point. And then you do have on this side, which is opposite of the others, you have your sheep's foot, and then on this side your spay blade. But if you look at the blade arrangement, compare that with your standard Stockman. You got 1, 1, and 1, and they're using 3 back springs instead of 1 and 2, and that is more like your whittlers, where you have your 1 blade in the center and then your 2 smaller blades on the outside. So they actually have kind of set up their knives more like a whittler than a Stockman. But the blade configuration is still going to be the same as a Stockman. And if we compare sizes on all of these, you got your right edge, you have your Uncle Henry, your Old Timer, and your Buck. These are all right around the 4-inch length, which is a really decent length for carry. Like I said, I carried one of these Old Timers forever. I mean, it was just perfect size, but I wanted a larger one, so I went with the Lumberjack series, and it works well with this case. But on your Uncle Henry also we can look, and it's going to be the 885 UH for Uncle Henry. And these are decent knives. And like I said, most of these are going to be, you know, 10 or 12 bucks, all the way up to 25 or so. You're not going to break the bank. You're getting reasonably decent steel. So they will hold a kind of a decent edge. You will have to resharpen them. I mean, it's not going to be like D2 or, you know, CM154, some of these super steels. But you're not paying for a super steel. So it makes it really affordable. But yeah, I love these old traditional knives. I was carrying this guy. I finally got this guy sharpened up where I like it. So it's got a decent edge. So I'm carrying the Uncle Henry now. I love these handles. But yeah, these two are kind of my go-to. And the rest are just kind of in my collection. I just wanted them just to collect. Because they're kind of pretty. I mean, they're nice. But yeah, there's a real kind of a, not a quick look, but there's a look at part of my collection. I do have some other knives that I'm going to do some videos on, so there'll be more videos coming. But just wanted to show you, you know, if you're into traditional knives, wanted to get into something nice, check out these old timers. They're still real decent. Uncle Henry makes a good one. Buck is still decent if you don't mind that style, you know, the Whittler style blade layout. Whittlers are a lot of fun too if you just want something that's not a Stockman. If you're looking for something with decent steel that won't break the bank, go with these Rough Rider, either the Carbon, Classic Carbon, or Classic Carbon 2. And I kind of like Classic Carbon 2 because of the micarta handles. It just be a little more durable carrying it, you know. And they got the TR bolster and everything, which that's cool. That doesn't bother me. But yeah, hope you kind of enjoyed looking at these. We'll have some more coming out to look at here at a later date. So like I always say, either we stand up for our rights or we can sit by and watch them go away. Y'all have an awesome rest of the day. We'll talk to you later. Tennessee Frank out of here.